our principle to our pathogenesis of viral diseases. What we're going to learn in this subtopic is first the principle of virus diseases. Okay, you need to remember that the fundamental process of viral infection is the viral replicative cycle, because viral is not a living cell, so it is very important for it to use the machinery from the host to replicate. Okay, the cellular response to the infection may range from no apparent effect of cytopathology with accompanying cell death to hyperplasia or cancer to the host. Okay, and also the viral disease is some are harmful abnormality that results from viral infections of the host organism. Clinical disease in host consists of overt signs and symptoms. A syndrome is a specific group of signs and symptoms. Viral infection that fail to produce any symptom in the host are said to be inapparent or subclinical. And in fact, most viral infections do not result in the production of disease. And then you can see here, we have two types of response of the host itself. First, response from the host, and another one is the response from the cell. Okay, so that for the lysis of the cell, we call it a cell response, and then the death, when it's leads to the death of organism, it is host response. Okay, and then when it's come to the symptoms, here we can see that there are some symptoms shown in the when the virus infect the host, but then down here when the sometimes some viruses it doesn't show any symptom, or we can also call it a subclinical disease, where the disease is not is failed to produce symptom. Okay, so that you can have a look at the iceberg concept of infection of virus here. Okay, and then the important principle. Now we move to important principle of viral disease. Important principles that pertain to viral disease include 5, which are: the first one is many viral infections are subclinical. Remember just now, subclinical means no symptoms. And then the second one, the same disease may be produced by a variety of viruses. The third one, some viruses may produce a variety of diseases. And then fourth is the disease produced have no relationship to viral morphology. So it doesn't matter if your the morphology of your virus, is it a complex virus, is it icosahedral, is it envelope, but then it doesn't have any, the disease produced have no relationship with the morphology. And then the last one is the outcome in any particular case is determined by both viral and host factors, and is influenced by the genetics of each both of the viral and host factor as well. So that this is the important principle that pertain to virus disease. Okay, now we need to move to the steps in viral pathogenesis. The specific steps involved in viral pathogenesis are, we've got 5 steps here. The first one, the virus will try to enter and primary replication will take place. Okay, and then the second one, viral will spread and cell tropism will occur. The third one, cell injury and clinical illness will shown. And then the fourth one, recovery from the infection, where here the viral clearance or establishments of persistent infection. And also the fifth one or the last one is the viral shedding. Okay, so if you follow our DG press conference every evening, he keeps saying about viral shedding. Okay, so we will learn today about this viral shedding. So that first, the entry and primary replication. Okay, for host infection to occur, a virus must first attach to and enter cells of one of the body surfaces. Usually, the surface of the body is our skin, respiratory tract, gastrointestinal tract, urogenital tract, or conjunctiva. Okay, and then also most viruses enter their host through the mucosa of the respiratory or gastrointestinal tract. Okay, I think I've got some photos at the end here, so that so this is the first step of entry and primary replication, where infection will take place at the body surface. Okay, remember this one. Okay, and then remember that this SARS-CoV-2 that we have that causes COVID-19 now is also it's actually infect the host or human through the respiratory tract, through the breathing. Okay, and then also the major sections are those viruses that are introduced directly into the bloodstream, because some viruses does not get into the host through body surface but through bloodstream by needles. For example, is hepatitis B and HIV. Okay, the human immunodeficiency virus. Usually, somehow there are also the transmission can also get by blood transfusions and also by insect vector as well. Okay, so now virus usually replicate at the primary site of entry. If the primary site of entry is the respiratory tract, so it will start to replicate there. Okay, or if it is skin, it starts to replicate in the skin. Some, such as influenza viruses that cause flu or respiratory infections, and noroviruses that cause infection at the gastrointestinal infection, is produce disease at portal of entry and likely have no necessity for further systemic spread. They spread locally over the epithelial surface, but there is no spread to distant sites. But then that's an example of the local spread. Okay, where upon entry there will be primary replication, and that's it. It won't move to other parts of the body like this one. But now let's see. B. Virus spread and cell tropism. What does it mean by cell tropism? Cell tissue tropism is where cells and tissue of a host that support growth of the particular virus or bacterium. Okay, so that remember cell tropism, where the cell of the host support the growth of the particular viruses or maybe bacteria. Many viruses produce species at sites distant from their point of entry, so that you do have to remember this. Okay, just now we discussed about influenza and also noroviruses, where it is the infection is just locally at the site of entry, But then many viruses produce diseases at sites distant from their point of entry. Example is enteroviruses, which enter through gastrointestinal tract but may produce central nervous system disease. Let's see whether we can. We can see anything here. So that no, it doesn't show anything. But then this is an example. So that from blood it will start to spread through other. Okay, for example, like rabies, it will go to brain. Measles, mumps, and cytomegalovirus, it can go up to the lungs. Okay. Sorry. Let's move back. My bad. Okay, so that after primary replication at the site of entry, usually what happens is that these viruses then spread within the host. Mechanism of virus spread vary, but most common route is via the bloodstream or lymphatic system. Okay, so that just remember the figure just now. We've got this lymph node or the blood. Okay, and then the presence of virus in the blood is called viremia. And then just remember, we've got primary viremia and it's also secondary viremia here. It means that it's also spread to the other important organs in our body. So the viremic phase is short in many viral infections. In some instances, neuronal spread is involved. This is apparently how rabies virus reach the brain to cause disease, and how herpes simplex virus move to the ganglia to initiate latent infection. Okay, so that's how when we have this secondary viremia. Okay? Viruses tend to exhibit organ and cell specificity, but then tropism determines the pattern of systemic illness produced during a viral infection. As an example, hepatitis B virus has a tropism for liver hepatocytes, and hepatitis is the primary disease caused by the virus. So that some virus, it's mean here that some virus has its cell specificities to go to. Okay, for example, like the hepatitis virus. Now we'll move to the third step of the virus replication, virus pathogenesis. The third step is cell injury and clinical illness, where first, destructions of virus-infected cells in the target tissue and physiologic alteration produced in the host by the tissue injury are partly responsible for the development of disease. Some tissues, such as intestinal epithelium, can rapidly regenerate and withstand extensive damage better than others, such as the brain. Some physiologic effect may result from non-lethal impairment of specialized functions of cell, such as loss of hormone production. Okay, so that you need to remember. Okay, so that what happened to the cell or to the host, usually it is not bad, it is not good. Okay, and then the clinical illness from virus infection is the result of a complex series of events, and many of the factors that determine degree of illness are unknown. General symptoms associated with many viral infections, such as malaise and anorexia, may result from the host response functions such as cytokine production. So that when our body produce a lot of cytokine, then the general symptom will take place to our body. Okay, and then clinical illness is an insensitive indicator of viral infection. In impaired infections by viruses are very common. Okay, so that's third step of the bacteria pathogenesis. Will move to our fourth step, or recovery from the infection. The host either succumbs or recover from the viral infection, which is very good. But then the recovery mechanism include both innate and adaptive immune responses. So that I hope that you know about this innate and adaptive immune responses, because I think you have learned it or you're going to learn it with Dr. Lokman very soon. And then interferon or IFN, and other cytokines, humoral and cell-mediated immunity, and possibly other host defense factors are also involved. The relative importance of each component differ with the virus and the disease as well. In acute infections, recovery is associated with viral clearance. It means that when the body starts to show symptoms, and then the symptom gradually gone, the recovery is actually associated with viral clearance. However, there are times when the host remains persistently infected with the virus, which is known as long-term infection. Okay, so it is not just for the infection and the recovery, but also we also have the long-term infection. Okay, so that the virus, the last one is virus shedding. For virus shedding, the last stage in pathogenesis is the shedding of the infectious virus into the environment. This is it because after the replication, the virus will start to try to go out of the host cells of the host and try to find a new host for a new replication cycle. This is a necessary step to maintain a viral infection in populations of hosts. Shedding usually occurs from the body surface involved in viral entry. So, sometimes if it is come from the nasal or the respiratory tract, it will go out from the respiratory tract. But then if it is come from skin, it will go out from skin. Okay. And shedding occurs at different stages of disease depending on the particular agent involved, and it represents the time at which an infected individual is infectious to contact. In some viral infections, such as rabies, human represent death and infection, and shedding does not occur. So that this is an example for rabies, because somehow rabies, the virus will go to the brain, to the central nervous system, and then there will be no shedding. So you have to remember that, okay? Because it will human will represent death and infection. Okay, so that you need to remember about that. So there will be no shedding if it is involve death to the host. Yes, okay, I think for the viral pathogens and associated diseases, we will learn this in our next video.